Hello, everyone. So to continue our discussion of the two brothers of Rachel, or matriarch Rachel. So I'm just going to read again from Body, Mind, and Soul by Rabbi Yitzchak Ginsburgh, page 105. I've read this section twice already, but it's pertinent to our topic tonight as well. If the Jewish people are likened to a lamb surrounded by wolves, then Benjamin, symbolized as the praying wolf, is the wolf within the lamb. In Kabbalah, he represents the fertile, feminine womb of the collective soul of Israel. In the terminology of Kabbalah, the Yesod of Malchus, the rectified, receptive power of the soul that guards itself from foreign invasion and fights off enemies, while sanctifying itself to receive and nurture the holy seed given it from above. Ultimately impregnated with the seed of divine light and life force, this is the spiritual power of the Jewish people to become a light to the nations and achieve forever peace between wolf and lamb. So there's a couple topics, very important topics that we've been discussing. One is identity, Jewish identity, Miha Yehudi, to know who is a Jew. And this enables the Jewish people, through proper Jewish pride and Jewish identity, to fulfill their role as the light unto the nations, the teachers for the nations of the world, for the light of the Torah and the Torah, as we talked about, the Torah of Mashiach. So there's the two sides, and this is what we're going to discuss. The sowing the seed, light sown for the righteous, it's from Psalms 97, chapter 97, verse 11. So that we can relate to Joseph, to weave, to sow within reality the light of Atzmasor and Sof, the essence of the infinite light of God. And to give birth, to fulfill the promise of that there should be no miscarriage in the lands. That's like a Benjamin consciousness, is what we're saying. The two brothers of Rachel, the matriarch, through Rachel we rebuild reality. We learn how to rebuild what proper Jewish consciousness is. We learn through Rachel, their mother. So first we have to reveal the new light of the Atzmasor and Sof, the essence of God, and weave it into reality, in order that there should be a Tova Nirva Nigla, to be revealed good. The plague should be wiped away immediately, and people should be healed immediately, and immediately from all types of illness, mental illness and physical suffering, and hunger, everything. We should see Mashiach. But it's also, from a Benjamin point of view, so Joseph is the great interpreter of dreams. So where does Benjamin? Benjamin is we could say, the one who gives birth to the consciousness of giving birth to a dream, of persevering amidst all obstacles. And we see the light at the end of the tunnel, which is the coming of Mashiach. And we say, today I'm going to do my utmost in the service of Hashem to bring Mashiach today. And then it should be. And then if not, then tomorrow we also have this, every day, to have this mindset to overturn the world today, as the Rabbi said. So I'm going to read a little bit from this discourse of the Rabbi, delivered on Shabbos Parshas Mishpatim 57:12. called, the name of the discourse is Lo Siyeh Mishakela. And in English, they titled it When Every Moment is Precious. So I'm going to reference in the notes of the video, so you can look at it yourself. Okay. Conceiving a child in a physical sense comes about through the male sowing seed. This is a revelation of the power of the Ein Sof, the infinite one, no limit. Literally, that's what it means. Similarly, in order to bring forth spiritual emotions, it is necessary to sow seed, as it were, as implied by the phrase, light sown for the righteous. This refers to sowing the seed of Torah and its mitzvahs. And as we said, a person should delight in their performance of Torah and mitzvahs. That's what we began with, the rectification of the superconsciousness and the rectification of tainug, of spiritual delight. So this is sowing the seed. The light sown for the righteous is rectifying the superconscious, which is, as we discussed, relates to Joseph. The unknowable, the darkness of the superconscious, and revealing the darkness, to interpret a dream that was dark to everyone else, but for him, through his strong emunah, his strong faith in God, that he was able to properly interpret it. But also in the merit, or essentially in the merit of his preserving his covenant, preserving the light of his covenant by withstanding the test of seduction with Potiphar's wife. Okay, to continue. Like the growth produced by sowing a physical seed, the growth produced by these spiritual seeds come about through a higher power, an essential movement that transcends a person's reason and thought, that comes at the beginning of a new phase in a person's divine service, and that must be manifest at least once a year. So it's discussed at Rosh Hashanah, the new beginning of the service. So every day is a new beginning. Every moment is an ability. God recreates, as the Baal Shem Tov teaches, reality at every moment. So we have this ability to infuse, to weave new light into creation at every moment, to sow new light. And this is, through Joseph, this is preserving the covenant. And so, before we spoke about the three primal fears, as discussed in Body, Mind, and Soul, of insanity, murder, and rape, all included within rape. We didn't get to the third one. We've been discussing it, but not now. We're going to discuss it explicitly. What is rape within rape? So it's stealing dreams, as we're going to discuss now. I encourage you to read on to this discourse of the Lubavitcher Rabbi. But I'm going to leave that for now and then go into another book by Rabbi Ginsburgh, Mystery of Marriage. Very wonderful book. And going to focus on Chapter 2, the power of imagination. The focus is on, in Hebrew it's koach hamidameh, and it's on rectifying imagination. So it's feminine consciousness to imagine giving birth. Imagine what the child inside one's womb is going to look like. And so this is to imagine. It's also creative, as we'll discuss the difference. And then to give birth. So now we're all imagining giving birth collectively to Mashiach. And this is a Benjamin consciousness to preserve that inspiration. and to be rape within rape in relation to what we've been discussing about preserving light is to try to steal that from us, steal that inspiration and that hope and that ultimate, right, that desire to teach the Torah of Mashiach, to bring the new light into the world, to bring about Mashiach by teaching the new light, which has to happen when a person's inspired, when a person believes with their whole heart that Mashiach is coming, and our job now is to teach that, to teach the new Torah of Mashiach. So first I'm going to bring something actually that was said by a very well-known Jewish movie director who is known for movies that are very fanciful and focus on the imagination and dreams. This is what he said recently. Dreams are a great test because they are going to test your resolve. A real dream will power you through every obstacle. Because if we are in service of our dreams, it becomes something greater. It allows us to be game and to get over our fear and to go forward no matter what obstacles are thrown in our path. One of the things this moment, meaning this current difficult state that we're all in with this plague amongst us, God should remove it immediately. One of the things this moment is teaching us is that truly anything is possible. It will be imagination and innovation that gets us all to the other side. I know this is a time of huge loss, but it's also a chance to dream big about our futures together. So the loss is of the former world. It's not really. Is it really? It's painful, and there's real suffering, as we said, and not to sugarcoat it. And we pray every time, every moment that people that are suffering should be immediately healed. Those who are hungry should have food. Everyone should have the roof over their heads, have what they need. But the former world, to lose the former chaotic world that we were in before, is not a loss at all. To be rushing and not know for what reason, that's not a loss. To lose that world of disorder. But we should all enter into a future together, the birth of the Messianic era, the redemption. Okay. So let's again go back to chapter 2 of Mystery of Marriage. So I'm just going to go in order of certain things here that I've highlighted, that I've noted for myself. Okay, this is on page 48. This is the first paragraph, starting the second sentence. When properly, so the book Mystery of Marriage and the other books are available on inner.org. Both this and Body, Mind, and Soul are also available. I believe both of them are available as ebooks as well, as PDFs. When properly oriented, rectified, Our rich and fertile power of imagination is a blessing, for it enables us to envision our ultimate life goals and develop our God-given talents. A healthy imagination makes an individual an inspired, vibrant, and exciting person, and impels him to realize his dreams. This is like what I just read from this director. So it's good to dream. It needs to be rectified, and we should imagine as close as possible what it will be in the Messianic era, and also to choose for ourselves a tzaddik, a righteous person, and throughout the ages there was it was a noble thing to say that maybe this person is the potential Mashiach of the generation. So this is also a good thing to imagine, even specifically a specific person to be Mashiach. This is a tzaddik of the generation. Okay, so let's go to page 51. This is the second paragraph, page 51. It is of paramount importance, then, to rectify the imagination. There are two facets in this process: purging it of the effects of negative, unhealthy influences, and then reorienting it positively. So this time, for all of us, is a time of reorientation, of leaving those unhealthy past behind, the chaotic past behind. And as we discussed previously, this current state of a void, in order to rediscover a spontaneous order, the spontaneous and immediate arrival of Mashiach. Okay. Page 52. So the way to rectify the imagination is through selflessness. Also says through power of association, through learning the Talmud, through learning Torah, but it's through selflessness. We're able to have better associations and better. We want dreams to become realities, to give birth to our dreams, but the dreams need to be rectified. So that is in accordance to the degree of our selflessness. And so, okay, so this is like the most important, I think, perhaps. Point of this video is that whereas Joseph, through overcoming, withstanding the test of Potiphar's wife, the test of seduction, he preserved his covenant, his bris, his potential. And he didn't waste his seed, his physical seed. Ultimately, he preserved that for proper marriage. But that's also his creative potential and his ability to reveal the secrets, the mysteries of the superconscious. So where does Benjamin fall into that? So Benjamin is the ability to hold on to a dream and not to miscarry a dream. That discourse from the Lubavitcher Rabbi discusses that there will be no miscarriage in the land. So not to miscarriage is like both physically and also spiritually, not to start some dream-inspired project, a good project, and just to to give up on it. So to see it through to its fruition, till it's birthed, like to publish a book, or to see any creative pursuit to its completion. So that's not what we're talking about. Okay, so this is the last paragraph of page. This is now what we're talking about. This is the last paragraph of page 52. Worse yet, one who has betrayed often enough by the beguilements of his unrectified imagination may well develop out of self-defense a cynical suspicion of any promise of fulfillment. Such a person has lost innocence. This is very important. Innocence is not to be defiled, to remain pure in the service of God. This is the purity of the maidens of Israel, the Jewish maidens of Israel. Not to assimilate, not to the purity of Jewish lineage, of the Jewish woman, the modesty of the Jewish woman. Innocence necessary to experience true romance. His whole emotional makeup, together with the potency of his imagination, has become dulled. He has become unconcerned with and even aware of the true significance of love. The very concept of romance has lost its meaning. So we can say very bluntly that to be rape within rape is to be sexually molested, either physically or emotionally, and that deprives us of our imagination, of our inspiration, of our creativity, of our hope, of our ambitions. And it takes counseling, it takes therapy to get over that. So now we have these. We're going to have an election, and it's between two people that are the same side of the two sides of the coin. This is the test of our generation. We have to stay inspired in order to give birth to Mashiach, and not to put our trust in elected officials. We pray for that the government should be ordered. There shouldn't be anarchy. But also we know that the true leader that we're awaiting is Mashiach, the true Jewish leader. And not the versions of leaders that we have now. And ultimately, immediately, it should be that the political leaders of this generation will acknowledge that also themselves. They'll acknowledge that. I mean, we all have to do teshuvah. We all have to repent. We all have. Our minds have strayed, and we all have to preserve our thoughts and our imagination and our inspiration and our drive to fulfill our personal dreams, and ultimately it all relates to the dream of bringing Mashiach, of giving birth to Mashiach. So to say that this person, just because they're in a position, elected position, no, it's all of us. We have to choose to elect ourselves, meaning to lift ourselves up of the mire that this modern world has we've at times succumbed to. and to dust ourselves off and to know that we're better than this, and we have this purity, we have a pure soul. Leiv tahor bara li Elokim, that ruach nachon chadash b'charbi, that God renews within me at every moment a pure heart, a pure soul. It says that a tzaddik falls and rises 7 times. So maybe that 7 times is maybe every day of the week, or 7 is like the cycles of nature. So it's an ongoing process, like the Benoni of Tanya, the intermediate man of Tanya, which is the seminal book of Chabad, Chassidus, from the Alter Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi. That a Benoni, it's called an intermediate person, but it's a person that's always serving God at every moment, always guarding themselves not to sin at every moment. And they don't succumb to it, but at every moment they're guarding themselves. And we want that our pursuits should bear fruit, but it starts by safeguarding our thoughts and our actions. Koshim to be, we're commanded to be holy in every manner of our service of God. Okay. Now, just one more thing to bring out. So it also relates to the story of Purim, because Mordechai and Esther were descendants from the tribe of Benjamin. So when we discussed about the whole story with the tribe of Benjamin and the succumbing to the unholy wolf of raping and leaving to die this concubine of Giva, and then the other tribes devouring Benjamin like a wolf, killing them, attacking them, and then the happy ending. I mean, many of the tribe of Benjamin were killed, but the happy for us is that the tribe continued, because the descendants of some of the descendants of the tribe of Benjamin are Mordechai and Esther, which are the heroines of the story of Purim. And Achashverosh is the height of sexual immorality. It says that for the sake of his lover, he turned in the Jewish people. So Vashti was his wife, and it says that Amalek Haman was his lover. So for the sake of his lover, he turned in the Jewish people. God forbid. So it's all about just rectifying impulses. Okay. So page 63. This is the footnote. This is again still in Mystery of Marriage, chapter 2. This is the second paragraph of footnote 32. In the terminology of Kabbalah and Chassidus, the imagination is the most external, superficial manifestation of the Partzuf of Ima. This dimension of the mind comes to the forefront of one's consciousness when the more inner dimensions recede, as when sleeping, dreams are the primary expression of the imagination. And it has some notes here to look at. The imagination is rooted in the Golgotha, We talked about Golgotha before. The Makif, which literally means skull, the Makif, the external level of Arich Anpin, whereas intuition is rooted in the Mocha Stima'a, the Pnimi, the inwardness of Arich Anpin. So Mocha Stima is the bridge between the superconscious and the consciousness. And so that's like Joseph, who bridged between the superconscious and the conscious. And imagination so that's intuition. So if we want to say the difference between imagination and intuition, we could say that it's the difference between Benjamin and Joseph in terms of our discussion. And so to rectify imagination is like to imagine birth, and not to miscarry, God forbid, both in the physical and in the spiritual. And most essentially to give birth to Mashiach, which in each of our service means teaching the Torah of Mashiach according to our abilities, connecting with others, to make another Jew. It's also to teach, to make a student is Alter Rabbi said is like to make another Jew, which is like a student is like a spiritual child. Okay. So, just one thing to have in mind during how do we connect it all? How do we settle our minds? So the consciousness for that is, instead of Esav, the two brothers of Jacob, the two brothers of Yitzchak, of Isaac, Jacob and Esau. So Esau said, Yishli Rav, I have a lot of stuff. So a person who has a lot of stuff can always have more stuff. And it becomes this race to accumulate more and more material wealth. But a rectified consciousness, a holy consciousness, is like the consciousness of Jacob. We said Yishli Kol. I have everything that I need. And Kol means all. So a person should always be satisfied materially with their material possessions, but always seek to do more spiritually. But this consciousness of Kol is the numerical value is 50, and it relates to the Nun Shari Bina, the 50 gates of understanding, and it's a consummate